When you drive through an El Paso neighborhood, one house stands out more than the rest. You think to yourself, this person might be a little patriotic. The reason is, the individual who lives in this house has witnessed parts of the darkest events of world history.
November 1938, when we got up in the morning and went to school, we was dismissed because there were riots and burning and looting of the Jewish store. We did not know what it was all about.
Wally Mayer Cech was born in Augsburg, Germany in 1929. She witnessed Kristallnacht, the night of the broken glass, in her hometown. Kristallnacht was a 2-day Nazi-coordinated assault against Jews in Germany and Austria, in which hundreds of synagogues were set on fire, thousands of Jewish businesses were destroyed, and hundreds of Jewish families were attacked and beaten. 30,000 Jewish men were deported to concentration camps. Many say this marked a turning point in the beginning of the Holocaust.
And a few days later, the Jewish people had to wear the yellow star with a big black J on it. And this is when we knew that something was not right. But since my mama was poor, never had a radio, I was not educated in politics. And we had to swear our oath to Hitler to be loyal to him for the rest of our life. We had no choice. We was told, we was sworn in, and then a few weeks later, he appeared in our hometown. And I saw him across the street at the balcony, and we were all cheering. To us, Hitler was hope, because this is the way they put it. We treated him like he was a little god with little respect. This is unbelievable what propaganda can do and brainwash you, even as a child. And to get rid of that brainwashing takes time and proof that what they said at the propaganda is out of question. And this is when I saw for the first time a huge train with lots of people in there. We had no idea what was going on, and they were going to Dachau. That we found out later, but not at that time.
Dachau, factory of horrors. Dachau, near München, one of the oldest of the Nazi prison camps. It is known that from 1941 to 1944, up to 30,000 people were entombed here at one time.
Everything was a secret, and how they done it to this day, I'm wondering, you know, because it was unbelievable. And to tell you the truth, we did not know what was happening to the Jews.
Wally, separated from her mother and brother, was forced to be a domestic servant for a wealthy Nazi family, as many German girls were.
You did not get an education like high school. In America, you was put into a family, and then you was their maid. And we got paid like $2.50 a month. And this is what happened to me when I was 14 until 16. And then we lost the war. And this was on May the 8th, 1945. The Nazi lady, she was so angry for losing the war. She gave me a beating, and she locked me in. And I said, Father our, Hail Mary, looked downstairs where I could land, and I jumped from the second-story window to my freedom. I was observed by some soldiers. They had a rifle, a bayonet on top of the rifle, and a pistol. and said, little girl, do not be afraid. And he said, you are under U.S. military protection. No harm shall come over you.
After the war, a couple years later while working at a restaurant in Germany, Wally met her future husband, an American soldier named John Cech. Married on December 18, 1947, they were together for 64 years before her Johnny passed away in 2012.
Marrying Johnny, there is no words for it. This was very, very special.
Together, they had left to America, arriving in Staten Island, to a new life, and for Wally, a new citizenship.
We were sworn in November the 12th, 1951, and then we had to make an examination about 6 months later in Waco, Texas. And our judge told us, now that you are American citizen, it's your duty to defend this country. And when the time comes, and there will be a time when America is in danger from outside and from inside, and never be afraid to stand up and be counted. And boy, he said the wrong thing to me, because I kept up with it since 1951.
Wally and Johnny were stationed at Fort Bliss, and there she decided to start writing about her experiences in Nazi Germany. She went on to self-publish her first book of her Auf Wiedersehen series in El Paso, Texas, in 1964. While still learning how to read and write in English, Wally was determined that nothing would stop her from publishing her second book in 1970.
And the last year is because, I never told Johnny I'd done all my writing when he was in bed or sleep and things like this. And then I figured I'm gonna surprise him. And I did surprise him because I want to have it published in El Paso, and I want to the American printing company. And then I told Johnny, you own $2,500 to the printing company and $600 for the binding. And he says, we don't have this kind of money. I says, well, you in Fort Bliss, a soldier, your credit should be good, so let's make credit.
Wally didn't publish her third and fourth book until 51 years later in 2021, which are about her time as a local restaurant owner and her work in local politics. Wally has never stopped writing since. Whether it was letters to presidents, politicians, and memory of soldiers who have given their lives in American wars, or in memory of her Johnny.
I have been writing 71 years on and off. And here is the fingers to prove it. I'm proud of it, and it's a labor of love. I could never have children, but your children will benefit from it. And I did it all in honor of God, America, and my Johnny.
Every word, every sentence, every letter is from her love of being an American citizen. She has continued to be civically engaged in her community for years, attending a total of 361 city council meetings in El Paso.
Speak out when you see it wrong, and one person can make a difference. And this is why I try to be the way I am, speak out, and make people aware, because those people here, they don't know what freedom is, because they had it all their life. They were born free. When your freedom is taken away, you cannot get it right away back.
Right now, her fifth and final book is in the works, and the message is still the same. America saved her, and she owes everything to what the American flag stands for.
I can do in America everything I can do within in the law, because you are an American. You can claim the highest mountain of success and be appreciated what it means to be American. Everything.